Hi everyone, today we're going to present the case study of FilterMed. This case study will analyze the capacity of the company to innovate. They are a large organization that develops radiopharmaceuticals that formulate drugs with radioactive, which are used in clinical areas or diagnosis and therapies. The organization should be accessed through four different perspectives. First of all, we're going to talk about the internal perspective, after external, marketing and technology perspective. First of all, we need to understand what disruptive innovation means. It's a powerful concept that developing new markets and provide new performance or new purpose for a company, which in turn may disturb the current organization situation. Market connections, but at the same time allows the company to bring a new population of consumers to come on board. This theory to create a significant impact on management practice. So that's why we need to analyze internal perspectives. Let's talk about a little bit about the different aspects of internal perspective. We have four different aspects to talk about. First of all, human resource, organizational culture, resource allocation, and organizational structure. Let's talk about first of human resource. We have two different things to think about on human resource. That's the managers and the employees. That is one of the most important assets of the company. So to have a company that disruptive innovation works, it's relevant that the manager understand the concept of it. One of the biggest problems is managers that were trained in conventional business program and don't understand the promise of disruptive innovation for the organization. And also they are shaped for their own experiences. Because they don't have the relevance of this matter, they cannot engage the employees to generate and implement ideas. They need to understand what and be able to influence the employees, use the brands and swim in the ocean. So it's very important to have leaders with that capacity of innovation so they can lead and influence all the employees to be creative and use the brands. On the staff perspective, it's important to have capable people working in the organization and people with values that match with the company culture. Motivation is another fact that can be very helpful for the organization to increase the capacity to innovate. Applying those concepts to FilterMed, the case study, the youngest senior manager is 55 years old. And most of them are trained in conventional business programs, and they don't understand the importance of disruptive innovation for the business to grow. They are doing things in the same way always, and as a consequence, they are not incentivizing the employees to develop and implementing new ideas. So, going to the next one, organizational culture, it is a critical aspect for any company to succeed. When disruptive innovation is in place, it can bring a few different reactions. They may impact the organization environment and culture. They can face a culture inertia and resistance from the team to make the changes that's necessary. FilterMed has a conservative culture and the employees have high resistance to change. It can bring negative impacts to the company to grow. The incumbents to develop this innovation capability need to prepare the organization and all the human resources and unlearn a few values to the company that you face a new scenario. The next one we're going to talk about is resource allocation. Resource allocation process that have a financial returns as evaluation for disruptive innovation can hide the development of the process of innovation. FilterMed has a primary step to evaluate potential of profit for each project to make a decision, so that's not a good decision. And the last one that we're going to analyze is organizational structure. It is an essential factor to be analyzed for success of disruptive innovation implementation. The larger is the organization, is less likely to achieve a good results. So FilterMed is a large company, so they have that difficulty about the size already. So FilterMed is a large company with many business units and everything is very centralized by board directors, which make very difficult succeed in disruptive innovation. Would it be better if each department has autonomy to implement and decide which way to go and evaluate the business structure, reality to make any kind of decision. Okay, now we're going to talk about the recommendations for the internal perspective. First, train the senior manager to understand about disruptive innovation. Managers incentive disruptive innovation ideas and put them into implementation. Incubates to prepare the organization to do the changes and unlearn deeply entrenched value that inhibit changes. Create flexibility of decision. Make to the small business units, creating autonomous departments and give them the freedom to create an appropriate business model to the situation that they are on the current situation. Avoid structural routines and establish criteria to evaluate projects by the current situation. So all the project shouldn't be evaluated just for the profit for the company, but see other opportunities as well. And reduce and avoid to consider most of the times the financial returns only for approval of the projects. Okay, that's the part of the internal perspective. Now I'm going to invite Mila to explain a little bit about the external perspective. Thanks so much.
So I will discuss about the external perspective. To start, let's analyze the actual situation of the company. The company is centralized and they have a high resistance to change. Because of that, they do not encourage the internship. The second aspect is the principal target market are the doctor and physicians, and the focus of the research and development department are totally this market. However, they still have limited understanding about their needs. The next point is, in Australia, it's very hard to register new radiopharmaceuticals in the Australian registers of therapeutic goods. Also, it's very difficult to raise capital to fund the development of new radiopharmaceutical, because some business financiers are still developing science that they understand and feel comfortable to work with. But on the other hand, the neighboring countries, as Indonesia and New Zealand, they have fewer regulations to develop new radiopharmaceutical. So this can be an opportunity to the company. The recommendations for this scenario is the company must understand the needs of the target market, and the first suggestion to that is create programs to incentive the research and development department to find more about that. And the second recommendation is create partnerships with neighboring countries, as they have fewer regulations to developing these radiopharmaceuticals, so the company can develop these new projects easily and keep them motivated. The last recommendation is encourage the business financiers to invest in this segment. The company should present the benefits of investing in radiopharmaceuticals and also lock it into commitments, and that reflect in the expectations of the investors. So to finalize, I will introduce our market manager that's overseas right now in a global conference, but she sent to us her market perspective view for the future disruptive innovation.
I will talk about marketing perspective. At the end, external disruption may result from the external knowledge source about innovation. Status of the future med is optimistic, and this somehow constrained by the regulations and the lack of the marketing understanding. Disruptive innovations proves and the opportunity for future med to expand out their operations in marketing. External factors state influence disruptive. Innovations may lend to high or low end disruptions. Pharmaceutical drug states are radioactive and dominant research and development positions. Science, research, and development have limited knowledge of what physical and the doctors want. They ought to make regular visits to the potential targets market the company will be able to acquire customers' insights, also the information is shared among marketing and the R&D departments, which help and employ possible strategies in sales of the radiopharmaceuticals. Poor communications between marketing and the research and the development team may lead to conflict in the sales of the company products made to the need target. Recommendations. FuturoMed needs to understand how doentes use these doctor and the physicals respond to the radiopharmaceuticals. That's helping in the understanding and the single out this possible customers need and the creating a product that will be much desirable for their operations. Data how radiopharmaceuticals impacts on the element needs to obtain for the between of marketing size FuturoMed learning use of the products a doctor and the physicals and the various health sectors in the Australia. They must collect viable information that will be helping coming up each appropriate why how sells radiopharmaceuticals. Research and development team needs to move near to the targets, which helps in understand what is required and even suggestions they why followed for this potential marketing. The speaker is Maria Mello. She will talk about the technology perspective.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I'm going to talk about the technology perspective of FuturoMed. So first, let's understand the company's actual situation. Today, the company has a passive attitude to disruptive innovation. So the company doesn't invest anything on it, just expect to spot something on the market. There is no systematic approach to creative technologies. The prioritization of quick return of investment projects stand a deep investment on strategic ones, as the girl said before. And there is a very limited awareness about the customer's needs. Some of the problems already impact other aspects in the company, so I'll just focus on how to solve these problems into the technology perspective on the recommendations. So the first tool that's really important to the company is listen to the customer and be aware of the market. Bauer and Christensen in the article Disruptive Technologies Catch the Wave advise that it's very important to know what the company or the driven market needs so you can invest correctly and more effectiveness the money and time and human resources about it. Another point that's very important is be our own research integration with institutes and startups. Because we're talking about some company that wants to develop new technology. It's a scientific market, so it's very important to be aware of it. So Yu and Yang on a reflective review of disruptive innovation theory says that maybe be some integration with university incubation startup can make mutual benefits, because we all know how costing time and money happens for a company to invest in new technology. But it has to be done if they want to be in front of everyone and competitors in the market. And for that, it's important to develop a new product development team. Someone that is focused on this, then can be integrated some technology and be aware of everything, instead no information or no one drive to it. We talk about trees, but this one I will talk about a little bit later because it's a very innovative way to solve problems, which is basically the innovative means. And also we will advise some agile methodology to be used in the company. There are several ways like Kanban or Scrum. That technology is a product management strategy that usually is largely used on the technology field, which you can bring all the workers in the company and try to update the information more frequently so everyone knows which everyone is doing. You can share more efficiently and quick the information among the company. So now let me just be more specific about the trees and how important it is to be a disruptive technology developer. Just to have some idea about being disruptive in problem solving, that's the trees idea. Trees is actually 40 principles and 80 trends future that was created by a Russian scientist in 1946. And the main idea is, instead you try to solve your problem straight to the solution. If it's that too hard, you can go to a world conceptual problem, look for the world conceptual solution, and then apply this analysis to your problem to solve. And one of idea that was very applied is the LHC computer grid at CERN. If you don't know, the CERN is the biggest Large Hadron Collider particle accelerator, which is located in Europe. So when they created this massive accelerator, they realized that the equipment produced 27 terabytes of data per day. Just for you have some idea how big is it, while your mobile plan probably have 40 or 50 gigabytes per month. 1 terabyte is just 1,000 gigabytes. So there was no computer to solve this problem. So the CERN applies the principle one of the trees, which is segmentation. So instead of build a massive computer that can process everything, they split up with small computers, more than 1,000 actually, with very high process type, and then build the redundancy of equipment and energy and make them work faster. Another principle of trees that was also applying that problem solving was the merging. Instead, you split up and specific machines to do it. They split up in hierarchies that called tiers by process levels and then distribute these over 40 countries and 107 institutes and universities so everyone can work in that solution. So that's the structure that we have today. So that's some principle that Future Med could apply to be a disruptive innovation. Like CERN, they have this problem, which was a building computer system which can process a lot of data, and they listen to the customer and understand the problem, be aware of the market through tech companies and universities and startups to build the solution, and then build a disruptive solution to solve it. So you think that's a very accurate example to apply to Future Med. So investing in researching and be mutual integration with other companies is a way to be in front of the market. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching us, and I hope you have a lovely night.